Live from the Dr. Jerry Henderson Radio Complex, it's time for Card Guys. And now, here's your host, Anthony Schulte.
Good morning or good afternoon, whenever you may be listening to this program. Thank you, Michael, for the intro as always, and welcome to Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk, Season 2, Episode 19. Coming up today, the Pistons. Plus, the Wings lose just an absolute crusher in D.C. The Lions have had an eventful offseason thus far. It's Tigers opening day. We celebrate and preview one of the best days of the year. And before we go, we talk about some of our favorite sports card products. I'm Anthony Schulte, and joining me as always, my man, Ryan Donnelly.
Happy Easter to those who celebrate. I hope the Easter Bunny gives you something good. I hope the Easter Bunny gives me a Pistons win.
Yeah,
which
we have three chances.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, we have three chances. Washington, Memphis, and the Spurs close out the season. So
well, you got to realize that Grimes, Fontecchio, Cunningham, Duran, Stewart, Thompson, and more are hurt. And we have a weak coach.
Oh, don't forget about Stu.
And Stewart, yeah.
And our coach is feeble.
Yep.
All right, right next to me, Mr. Michael Rosenkranz.
Great to be here on the show on a Wednesday. We got gentle break coming up. All of us are going to be heading out after the show today.
Is true.
And gentlemen, Tigers baseball is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to watch it from home, all of us, it's nothing like it.
Am I the only one that doesn't like that it's called gentle break?
I don't like the fact that it's on a Thursday and a Friday. I wish it was on a Friday to Monday.
Right. Give us the day after Easter off.
Yeah.
I want to spend Easter with my family instead I have to spend it in a car on my way back to school.
Like Good Friday, yeah. And then Monday after, yeah.
Give us the day to come back up and readjust.
Exactly.
For real.
Anyways, I just want to say, before we get started on today's program, a lot of people mentioned to me and messaged me saying, hey, you're on a different side now of the studio, of the picture, and we got confused. So to give a little explanation, we switched studios. Our other studio, right there. It's right over there.
Right, literally like right across the street.
It's right
if
across.
If you go out the
sheet
door
of glass
and walk straight, it's right there.
So everything is basically flip-flopped to be kind of like in one central area for both the stations. So, because I board op as well, I got to be by the board. So I sadly had to flip. So from now on, I will be on this side. I know host isn't really supposed to like flip sides in the middle of the season or at all, but hey, things happen. Starting us off today, after that little tangent, the Pistons are harder to watch. Moving on to the Red Wings, an important game in Washington, D.C., and we lost.
Moving on.
We got a point. But Washington got 2, and that is not good. We needed 2 points, and they needed to get 0 points, and we would have hopped right back in. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, we either would have hopped in or been tied for the wild card spot, the last wild card spot available for us, and we drop it in overtime. Patrick Kane, Showtime, showed up again. Can't ask much more from Kaner. He's doing his thing. He tied the game up for us. I mean, DeBrincat finally on the board after 13 games, goalless. So there's some positives to take out, but I think the huge negative that makes this entire operation overcast and rainy and a slight tornado is the fact that not only do we lose again, we're still way behind in the wild card. We're still 2 games back in the wild card, if I'm not mistaken. 2 points back.
2 points.
2 points.
Ahead to behind Washington.
Yep. And almost the Flyers. The Flyers make this interesting because if the Flyers lose their spot to the Capitals, we're in some deep juju. Because, what is it, like 3 or 4 points back that puts us behind instead of 2?
So briefly what happened yesterday, I think it was just a little mix-up in the wild card standings. Philly briefly jumped in there just because I don't think that the people who are running the wild card standings just did correct math. So Philly briefly hopped in there with 82 points, which would have set us 3 points behind, but then readjusted it to how it should be. So it's Tampa Bay Lightning holding the first spot with 85 points. I can't see that far, apparently. And Washington has 81, and we're behind them with 79. So we're 2 points behind, but this road trip's not going to get any easier, and quite frankly, I am very scared.
That's what makes it a really tough game to lose. It was must win because there's so many games coming up where it's like, we get blown out by the Coyotes twice recently. We lose some games we quite frankly should win, and now you got to go play these tough teams on the road. And it's not even like you have Hockey Town behind you. You have the Octopus and LCA hitting the ice. It's just you in an opposing arena against fans that are ready for the playoffs and don't want to lose. So it's tough. It's tough losing this game that was right there for you. It was right there. So many opportunities to score. So many opportunities. Obviously, in hockey, you're not going to capitalize on all those opportunities, but you need to capitalize on more than your opponent if you want to be successful. I mean, that's just any sport. You want to capitalize more than your opponent to be successful. And the Red Wings it seems like we're getting to the top of the hill, and then a boulder hits us, and now we're all the way back down here, and we have to keep working our way up. That's what it feels like this season, especially towards the end. And It's just tough to see. It's tough to see because I was ready for hockey to be back in Hockey Town, or playoff hockey to be back in Hockey Town. It's been a while.
It's not going to get easier from here. You got Carolina tomorrow at Carolina. You got the Panthers on Saturday in Florida, and then you got the Lightning, who is in the wild cards race next Monday, and then you got luckily. We have a 3-game home stretch. One of those games being against the Capitals. We get a rematch. The good news is we ended Ovechkin's point streak yesterday.
We did.
So I'll give him some props. Alex Ovechkin's, his 40-year-old bums, we lost. We broke the point streak. He was on a 5-game point streak, and Ken Daniels mentioned in overtime. I only got to watch the overtime of this game, but Ken Daniels mentioned that Ovechkin was on a 5-game point streak and he didn't get an assist or a goal. And I was like, oh, we could beat this. And then I saw him for the line change. I saw him leave. I was like, I think we broke Ovechkin's point streak, which that's cool. Like, I'm fine with that.
I'd rather get the win personally.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have the 2 points.
And not have them get another point in overtime.
I think we lost because we lost Lalonde to the locker room. Derek Lalonde makes Monty Williams look like a good coach. I said it. I said it.
See, pre-show, I did not agree with that because Monty Williams is a special type of special type of headache.
At least at times, Monty wins the locker room. Derek Lalonde loses the locker room every time and just lets Larkin and Kane and DeBrincat run it.
The only thing Monty Williams has a grasp of is his facial hair.
That is true. Stroking the goatee for yet another 30-point loss.
Sitting on the bench, why are we down by 30? As Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey are on the bench to end the fourth quarter? I wonder why, Monty. I wonder why. Okay, sorry.
We got to bring up the Pistons somehow.
They always get brought up. They're like a bad dream. They always get brought up.
It's always that in Michigan, which I know somehow, some way will get brought up in this program. But looking at the schedule, I can see the bottom. And that scares me. I can see the Canadian. When you see the Canadiens doubleheader, it scares me because it doesn't get easier from here. We got 2, 4, 6. We have 10 games left. If we want to make the playoffs, and I don't think Washington or Tampa's Bay's schedule gets that harder at all.
Washington's got a somewhat I was watching the Bally broadcast. They brought up the Washington schedule. They've got to play like Toronto and Boston on a back-to-back.
Oh gosh.
So, but I mean, they don't have the Infinity Gauntlet that we have.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got probably 3 or 4 out of their next 5 games are against really, really tough opponents.
Yeah. I could say there's 3 winnable games, 4 winnable games. I think we could go 5-5 or 5. I hope 5-4-1.
You need to at least get points in overtime. At least send it to overtime.
I can see us get a win again. I can see us sneak away a win against the Rangers at home. I can see us sneak away a win against the Sabres at home. I can see us sneak away a win at the Capitals at home. I can see us sneak away a Penguins win, and I can see us split against the Canadiens. Or sweep the Canadiens, which would be the best possible scenario. I hope, because this will be exciting hockey, that it comes down to the final day. where it's going to be a neck and neck between the Lightning and Capitals and us.
I don't think it's going to come down to the final day. I think it's going to come down to the game against Washington at LCA. That's going to be the game for the season.
I think it'll go down between either the first or the second game between the Canadiens, and I just have a feeling that it's going to be towards the end of the year instead of like next week.
I feel like we're going to have another situation where the Red Wings and the Capitals are either 1 or 2 or even tied, 1 or 2 points separating each other or tied for the same amount of points, and they're going to go into that game at LCA. And the winner of that's going to create whoever gets the 2 points is going to, and especially if it doesn't go to overtime, is going to create such a separation, especially that late in the season, such a separation that I feel like we're going to look back at the end of the year, and the winner of that game is going to be in the wild card. I have a feeling. I think that's the game to watch out for. If you don't watch the Red Wings, or you follow the Red Wings, you just don't watch them because you're frankly
lame.
Scared of watching a losing team.
Well, then you should be scared of watching every single Detroit sports team besides the Lions and maybe the Tigers.
Maybe the Tigers. They're looking good. We're going to talk about them later. But watch that game against the Capitals. I've been wrong many of times in my life. Many of times. But I feel like this game against the Capitals is going to be the game of the year. We've said that about the Islanders game. We said that about this past Capitals game. This Capitals game is now going to become the game of the year. Because I think LCA, we got to sell that place out. It needs to be sold out. Throw a giveaway. Do you have extra bobbleheads? Extra bobblehead giveaway. Come get one. Throw down ticket prices. Get butts in seats. Because the one thing that we have going for ourselves in that game is LCA and the fans. That place needs to be sold out for that game. Maybe I'm overreacting to that game, and we're going to keep losing, and Washington keeps winning, and it ends up being completely irrelevant. But I could see a world where, the Red Wings just get hot. They've done it before. They've beaten most of these teams before, or at least played close with them. The Capitals start to fall off after the close game against the Red Wings, and it all lines up again. Hockey works in mysterious ways. So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm all for the fan momentum at LCA. I think it's really, really important to get that place sold out, if not sold out, very, very near full capacity. And here's what I'll say about a lot of reactions I saw yesterday after the game from Detroit sports fans. I can see it both ways. We're frustrated that this team continues to find ways to lose games that are extremely important and games that we have to win. Yesterday being one of those games. You get a point out of it, but 1 point is not enough in my mind. You needed the 2.
Yep.
And I understand that fans are upset. I understand that fans want to make...
And rightfully so.
...the playoff runs. Yes, and rightfully so. But you have to understand this, guys. Steve Yzerman is once again trying to build a dynasty. He's not trying to build like a one and done. These prospects maybe have at least a year left to continue to develop. And at that point, once they get developed, then you can see some of them start to be called up. So I can really see it both ways. It's just tough because I'm trying to see it both ways. And was I frustrated after the loss last night? Absolutely. I was frustrated after the loss. You have to build your farm system from the ground up. Steve Yzerman likes the depth that's in Grand Rapids right now. He trusts the depth, and he wants to see these players continue to develop over the course of another year. And the thing about the NHL, and especially our division right now, it's incredibly tough to win because you have these teams that just run the division. Boston, Florida, Toronto. All 3 of those teams are running the Eastern Conference right now.
Yep.
So, in my mind, yes, I'm frustrated that we may once again be left out of the playoffs for the 7th straight year. But I really think it comes down to being able to build the farm system, trusting the depth that you have, but you need to start cracking down on this in the offseason because something internally is not there. And it starts with Derek Lalonde. There's something going on in that locker room that he does not have the mentality that he's drilling into these players. I just briefly read a quote from Dylan Larkin this morning before I came here. And he says, yes, we got the point, but there are absolutely no moral victories. I wholeheartedly agree.
Good mindset.
This is not a moral victory. You need every point possible. And 1 point is not going to cut it. You need 2 points. And for the sake of Washington, they need to lose games in order for us to have a shot.
And say we beat Washington in overtime, right? They're still getting a point.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gaining 2 points over Washington, even if we win that game in overtime. We're only getting 1 point on Washington.
Yep, we would have still been 1 point behind.
Yep. So once that went to overtime, sure, earlier in the year you're celebrating. Woo, we got the point. That's huge. Now it's like it's win in regulation or bust against that team in that scenario. Now against these other teams, every point matters, but because you're not really wishing they don't have a point, right? They don't get a point. Your opposition, unless it's of course in this situation the Capitals.
Yeah, and going forward, again, things that I take away, your defense against Nashville. You need to have games consistently like that. And I can't even tell you the amount of scoring chances we had yesterday. So, I mean, we had our chances. Petrie missing the net on a wide open pass.
Yep.
The setup in overtime, I think it was DeBrincat, that had the puck just go off his skate. Not a good pass at all. I don't know who gave him the feed, but that pass wasn't good. DeBrincat got on the board last night in what seems like forever because he just had such a rough
13 games.
13 games, yeah.
13 games to get back in the goal
he's had a
column.
rough 13 games,
Yeah.
and it just unfortunately boiled over in overtime. But going forward, your schedule is not going to be any easier. You got the Hurricanes tomorrow, who are 23-9-4 at home this season.
Yeah.
In other words, they've been dominant at their place. So, very nervous about Carolina. Panthers on Saturday, which, to be honest, I don't think you're beating Florida. They are way too dominant of a team. And same thing with the Lightning.
Aren't they the first team that started that losing streak? Wasn't it the 4-0 shutout, or is that in the middle of the
The 7-game losing streak?
Yeah.
That was against the Islanders.
The first was against the Islanders. The second game was against the Panthers.
I think the Panthers game was what really started.
Yeah.
That is what really spearheaded that losing streak. Because you get shut out at home, embarrassed at home. You're averaging 3.5 goals a game at that time, and I think it's still around that same number. And you lose that game. You don't not even lose that game. You get pollywopped in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move on here to our next topic, I think Petrie is one of the guys that got to go.
Don't get me started on Jeff Petrie, because
Jeff Petrie's
I'll make
really
his
He's only
starting
here
to
because his
annoy
dad
me.
is Dan Petrie.
I have a couple points, which is I hate Jeff Petrie. He had a nice stretch in the beginning of the year. He had a goal. We saw his dad. We saw Dan get happy. And then after that, what happened to Jeff? Absolutely nothing. He's terrible. He had a lot of opportunities when he got in front of the net yesterday, and guess what he did? He looked at the puck and went like, "What do I do with the puck? I'm going to kick it."
I'm going to
No,
kick it.
he's going to kick the puck to Washington's zone.
I'm going to kick it? Does this turn into a soccer match?
Rose drop kicking the puck across
Jeff
the ice.
Petrie, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I feel like we signed him because it's like Juwan Howard, because it's like a legacy hire. I got no Michigan news today. There's nothing that happened. Except Dusty May.
He got announced.
He did get announced, and I love it. Michigan basketball called him a basketball guy. Anyways.
Well, maybe the Michigan tidbit could be that Juwan Howard won more March Madness games than Tom Izzo.
That is true!
Yep. We have a Michigan fan in pain to our right. This is laughter and sadness.
Juwan Howard has more March Madness wins than Tom Izzo in the past 5 years? That's pathetic. That's the day's left.
Anthony,
Anyways,
what did I do?
Mr. March claims are in question.
What did I do to Ryan over here?
I don't know. I forgot about that. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up.
To put a button on it?
I'm gonna put a button on it. Anthony mentioned this in the beginning, before we even went on air. Detroit sports fans are spoiled, especially hockey fans. Because after last night...
So a quarter of a century of straight hockey, playoff hockey will do to a fan base.
I look back like 4 or 5 years ago when every single Detroit sports team, except for maybe the Pistons, were bad. Like the Wings were at rock bottom, like beginning of their rebuild.
Talking like 2004?
Talking 2019.
Oh. Oh, man.
Well, 2004, we were all, except for the Lions, we were all decent, and the Tigers, but...
Well, the Tigers have the worst season.
The Tigers came off
2003.
their worst season in 2003.
And then I think the Red Wings, I mean, they made the playoffs, obviously, but I don't think they were like...
04 was a couple years after their 02 Stanley Cup championship.
So, I mean, they were still kind of...
Like, we still had our guys.
Yeah,
like, we still had Stevie Y. We still had Zetterberg. Anyways. Like, my point is, Hockey Town, don't give up yet. Because I looked at X, and I went on...
That was your first mistake.
That was my first mistake after the game. I watched only overtime because I was busy. And... Yeah, Hockey Town isn't confident, to say the least. I'm not really that confident. However, I still have faith. The one thing I do have is faith. Whether it's the Pistons, whether it's the Lions down 20, whether it's the Red Wings almost losing out of a playoff spot, I still have a little hope. I mean, yeah, there's a couple winnable games like Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Montreal. Like, yeah, like Montreal sucks. And
so we said that about the Coyotes, and they really showed us who's boss.
And we got swept by the Coyotes. But Hockey Town, from me to you, don't lose hope. Because looking at Twitter yesterday, I lost hope because of the fans. And personally, I still have hope for this team. Again, a couple of winnable games. We don't know how it's going to go. However, Larkin is back. We need Larkin to stay healthy. And... don't give up on this Red Wings team. This is the best Red Wings team we've seen in the past 6 years. So, those are my 2 cents.
Now, Dylan Larkin, he went to Michigan, correct?
Yes.
He did.
Yes, he did.
We just brought up Michigan, Dusty May coming over from FAU, right?
That is true.
You know who else played for Michigan?
Oh.
Aiden Hutchinson. The Detroit Lions.
Oh, wow!
In the midst of their offseason.
Pain, not the Lions, Michigan. Pain.
He's going through it.
I'm going through the 5 stages of grief with Michigan.
So the Lions, obviously, moving on to Lions. That was my attempt at a segue into the Lions.
It was decent.
Very nice.
I tried.
Very decent.
There's some Lions news. We haven't covered them in a little bit. Obviously, it's the off season. We got Pistons and Red Wings in action. We're leading up. We have the March Madness, which we're not really talking much March Madness today. We talked about in our last show. If you want to see stuff on March Madness, go back to our last show. We'd appreciate the views on that last show. Regardless, the Lions made some moves since we last talked about them. DJ Reader, Kevin Zeitler. Great moves, Brad. Brad Holmes making the moves he needs to make. I love it. We're signing guys. Our offensive line got better. Who would have thought, going into this offseason, if you were to tell me, hey, the offensive line's going to get much better, I would have laughed in your face. It got better and it got cheaper. Hey, I'm not complaining. The defense, we're addressing key points in the defense. DJ Reader, and we'll get to some reaction to those signings in a little bit. But we're talking about defensive changes. We have to mention the release of one Cameron Sutton. Now there. Let's not clap yet.
Sorry.
While he wasn't, the best player, there were people hurt in this situation and scenario. Cam Sutton, everybody knows, but if you don't know, he's in some trouble.
Yeah.
He had a warrant out for his arrest in Florida. He did something not good. He was he hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say exactly what it is. I don't want to get into details. I don't like that type of stuff that he did. If you want to know, you could go find out on your own what he did, or what he's being accused of. I don't want to say he did it yet because it's just a warrant for an arrest. They have probable cause, but innocent until proven guilty is what I go off of. But regardless, Cam Sutton accused of doing some bad stuff, and he was on the run for a little bit. And then we just found out at the league meetings that, oh no, on the day of, he was just working out in Allen Park. Huh? Cam Sutton was working out in Allen Park the day that he found out when everybody else found out. When they came up to him, they're like, hey, by the way, look at this. And he's like, oh, okay. They tell him that he's released. He packs his bags. Nobody's seen him since. So unless there's any breaking news in between now and 1 o'clock when this goes up, in case there's any news that I just haven't seen on Twitter, even though I probably would have gotten a notification about it, we hope he's okay. We hope he's okay. We hope he's doing well. It's kind of hard nowadays for someone to go MIA like this, but obviously he's found a way to do it. Hopefully he's safe. And that situation will play out as time goes on. Again, I don't really want to get into the details of it because it's murky waters. It's just murky waters. I'd rather stay away from it. So Cam Sutton has been released. There is now an open cornerback spot on our roster. Yes, he wasn't the best player. And yes, he said some really nasty things in Instagram DMs over the offseason. But fans were celebrating on Twitter like we just won the Super Bowl. And I think people need to realize, and this is nothing on you. Of course, it's good that we lost. We don't have anybody on our team anymore.
I had my Skip Bayless moment.
It's not even a bad thing on you. You were just celebrating the fact that we have a bad person off the team that presumably did something bad and that wasn't that great. There's nothing on you. But the fans that were full on celebrating, like we won the Vince Lombardi, when there are people hurt in this situation and we don't know the full details yet, shame on you guys on Twitter. Shame on the Twitter trolls that live under the Twitter bridge. The X bridge. That live under the X bridge, you never celebrate situations like this the way that the fans did. And that's all I want to say on that. Back to football. Back to football. Right? This got a little sad. Back to football.
Sorry about that. Also, I apologize for clapping. I had my Skip Bayless moment.
You were clapping at the fact.
I was clapping at the fact that
you weren't clapping with any malice.
I wasn't clapping at the situation. Obviously, I pray and I hope everybody's okay. But I'm just happy that a bad person, a person who I'd say is toxic in the locker room.
I mean, with what he said on Instagram DMs.
Yeah. I don't personally. I don't like it, but he's just. I don't know.
Again, if you want to find out what he said, go to Twitter.
Yeah,
you'll find it.
It's bad. We're not going to say.
So the Lions, they signed DJ Reader and Kevin Zeitler in our time away from the Lions topic. Last time we talked about him, it was the midst of free agency. Amik Armstead. We traded for Carlton Davis. We re-signed Glasgow. We made some moves, right? DJ Reader and Kevin Zeitler. What do these guys add to this team? Because as the league meetings commence in Orlando, we have some guys on this roster now, including these two, that are football guys that want to win here, that have winning experience. DJ Reader was just in the Super Bowl with the Bengals a couple years ago. Kevin Zeitler was just with a winning organization in Baltimore and made it to the AFC Championship, was a key part to that. We have some winning guys now. We just added more winning guys. Carlton Davis, I want to say he went to the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers.
You're correct.
When TB12 was on the team. So you went out. You didn't just get good players. You got good players that can win ball games, that know what it takes to win in this league. Very important stuff. How important, in your guys' opinion, is it to the Lions and next season, which in this division is a very, very, very going to be a very tough and important season.
Landing DJ Reader and Kevin Zeitler are two of the biggest signings in this offseason for the Lions. DJ Reader is somebody who is both excellent at going at, just creating a formidable presence on that D line, but also you need somebody for your pass defense. That's where the Lions really struggled this past season, was the pass defense. And DJ Reader's just one of those defensive tackles that can really disrupt the pass game.
And the run game. Too.
He's going to be a great presence for this Lions team. And Zeitler, he's going to be great on the O-line. Losing Jonah Jackson was tough, but you simply couldn't pay Jonah Jackson the amount of money that you could to keep him on the team when you're going back and trying to win it all next year.
And then Kevin Zeitler falls in your hands, and you're like, well, we do the good thing, and we get rewarded.
There you go.
There it is. But DJ Reader and Kevin Zeitler, dog.
Yeah?
Dogs. We got dogs.
Dogs.
And you know who said who he wants to play here? Max Crosby. Said he wants to play for Detroit.
Dog.
Yes, he does.
Imagine we had, not saying we will this offseason or we will in general, but we had Max Crosby to this defensive line. We got Aleem. We got DJ. We got Hutch. Crosby.
That D-line would be frightening.
Oh, man, I get a smile just thinking about it.
Man.
I like it. That's all I got to say.
You like it.
I like it.
There it is. Well, the league meetings are commencing, and before we move on to our main topic of today's show, I want to ask you guys about a new rule that just got passed. You guys may have heard of it. They're calling it the hybrid NFL kickoff. It's what you see in the XFL, where you line up closer to the end zone, and if the ball hits the ground before it goes into the end zone, you get the ball at the 20. If the ball goes into the end zone or or through the end zone, you get the ball at the 35, or you could play it. I want to get your guys' opinions on it, because my opinion is I like it and I don't like it. I like it and I don't like it. That's my opinion. I want to get your guys' opinion on the new hybrid kickoff replacing the old NFL normal traditional kickoff.
It's confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all I have to say.
It's a little confusing. Yes, I agree. I'm just thinking that this is another tactic to just try and provide a little bit of offense, because all in all, we just see touchback after touchback after touchback, which is probably not what most teams want. They want to see their team try and return kickoffs, and I think this kickoff rule, especially where everybody's going to line up, it's going to wipe out the onside kick.
Well, they said for onside kick, the new rules is you have to signal an onside kick, and the officials will move the line of scrimmage back to where it used to be for the original NFL kick, and they'll commence an onside kick there. They also said that instead of it being 5-5, you can switch your formation to make it 6-4 or 6-4 to help receive the onside kick a lot better.
Yeah.
Those are the onside kick rule changes. But you said maybe this could give more offense, right, to the league. They said that they want more offense. The league said they want more offense.
Yeah.
So your theory could very well be true.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many scenarios where you want to return for a kickoff and just try and get some yardage that way, but time and time again, it's just touchback after touchback, and you don't really have that opportunity. And for those guys that really want to try and return kickoffs and try and provide that little offensive spark to their drive, by all means, go ahead. I mean, it's a confusing ruling, but I get the concept as to why.
There's one more rule that is kind of controversial that a lot of players have viewed their distaste for. Excuse me. Hip drop. Hip drop tackle.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players, since that got banned, the hip drop tackle basically is when you grab them by the hip and you say, "No, sir, you're going down." You're down, right? Bring them down. They said no more bringing them down like that. Can't do that no more. You can't bring them down, right? So a lot of players voiced their opinions on this, saying, "Oh, can't tackle anymore." A lot of people are saying what the NFL is going to turn into in the next couple of years, and it's the Pro Bowl games playing flag football. I think DJ Reader said we might as well be playing two-hand touch tag on the field at this point because of all the rules against tackling. And I get being safe. Obviously, that's what led to Mark Andrews' injury last year that took him out until, the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous, but here's my thing. Football's a dangerous sport. Just like hockey's a dangerous sport. Just like baseball has its dangerous moments. Just like basketball has its dangerous moments. When you play football, when you sign that NFL contract, you know what you're getting into. You know the possibilities with head injury. You know the possibilities with life-altering injury that can happen. You know the consequences, and you know what you're signing up for. I think, and I'll quickly wrap this up here as we go into Tigers. I think that it's ruining the game. It's ruining the game. Because, yes, are there dangerous things that happen from that? Yes, of course. Players also get severely injured just by running by themselves. Players get injured running routes. Injuries happen. Heck, you could get injured falling down the stairs at your house.
Look at Greenlaw in the Super Bowl, getting injured simply running out onto the field.
Tore his Achilles running onto the field. Now we have to walk onto the field? Is that the new rule? I get being safe. Trust me, I want everybody safe. I don't want people hurt. I don't want to see violence to the point of injury, right? Or somebody's hurt. However, that's part of the game. To an extent. Obviously, you're not going to go, trying to hurt somebody.
No.
But it happens. It's sports. It happens. You get injured. I don't like it. That's my thing. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't really understand it, to be honest, quite either. And just reading through an article that I'm reading right now on CNN, Don Church posted it on CNN, and just everybody reacting to the news of the hip drop tackle being banned. And now for a little more context, if you do a hip drop tackle, it will now be called a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I did forget that, yes. So now most tackles, if deemed a hip drop, even though it might not be intended as a hip drop, most tackles will be called for a 50. I saw a tweet that said, "Oh, I just can't wait until it's the playoffs and Patrick Mahomes gets an automatic first down on 4th and 26 because the Ravens tackled one of his receivers and the refs wanted to give him a first down to win the game on a field goal." If that happens, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
I can see that happening because it's Patrick
the writing's
Mahomes.
on the wall. Like you could, it's so NFL-esque that you could see it happening. Ryan, you have any thoughts on this thing?
No.
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 No thoughts on the hip tackle.
No.
J.J. Watt said, quote, "Just fast forward to the belts with flags on them," meaning that this is going to be turning into flag football in J.J. Watt's mind, and it very well could.
It could.
And again, safety, always a number one priority in my mind. You want to make your players as safe as possible. I never want to see anybody get hurt.
Exactly.
So I don't understand the move. I understand the kickoff rule, the hybrid kickoff rule, more than I do the hip drop tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just have to see how this season plays out, but I'm really, really interested to see what's going to happen this season now that the hip drop is banned. I don't think it's going to go over too well, and quite frankly, you may see quite a bit of penalties with players still trying to attempt the hip drop tackle.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we talked some football, we talked some hockey, Pistons. Next, cue the music. We've got Detroit Tigers baseball coming up tomorrow. It is here. I'm in my threads. Ryan's got his hat on. We're feeling good about the MLB season starting up again. We've had some spring training ball, but nothing beats getting into the big league parks and playing some stick and ball. So, the probable starters for tomorrow's contest. Man, I'm so excited. Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet, I think that's how you say his name, is Crochet. Or if it's Crotchet, my bad, but I'm going to assume it's Crochet. We've got some fun in store for this season. Now, we've made some roster moves, one of which sending Bo Brisky down to AAA for Joey Wentz. Questionable, I would say, because I like Brisky, and I just have, I guess, PTSD from last year with Joey Wentz. However, I'm excited. As I pull up our final roster here from the great Evan Petzold on the Free Press. Providing this, one of my good colleagues in this industry. I am bringing up it right now as I try to pass time without having any dead air. Oh my goodness, where is it? Okay, here we go. Let me go to Tigers. This is what's great about live radio, isn't it, folks? Let me go to Tigers here. There we go. I found the article, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is from Evan Petzold of the Detroit Free Press, credentialed MLB media. Here we go. The squad, 26-man roster for opening day. The catchers, Carson Kelly and Jake Rogers. I think that was set in stone.
Yes.
The infielders, Javi Baez, Andy Ibanez, Colt Keith, Zach McKinstry, who this year is listed as third base, second base, shortstop, right field, left field. So a really good utility guy. Spencer Torkelson, Big Torque, and Gio Urshela as our infielders. Our outfielders include Mark Canha, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Parker Meadows, and Matt Vierling, who can play third base. And the designated hitters for this season look to be Mark Canha and Kerry Carpenter interchangeably, and I'm sure that will change as well as we go through the season. But as of right now, that's what they're listed as. Starting pitchers, Jack Flaherty, Kenta Maeda, Casey Mize, Reese Olson, Tarek Skubal. I don't think there's any differences from what we were expecting there. And then the bullpen. I think our infielders were really set in stone, and the pitchers, specifically relief pitchers, were what the main competition going heading out of Lakeland into Chicago. So relief pitchers: Andrew Chafin, Alex Faedo, Jason Foley, Tyler Holton, Alex Lang, Shelby Miller, Will Vest, Joey Wentz. I think there's improvement from last year. I don't think it's the hottest group in the MLB, but there's improvement. I want to be proved wrong by these relief pitchers. Look, Joey Wentz, make me eat my words. You looked good in spring training, but then again, Eric Haas looked good in spring training. So take it with a grain of salt. What I saw last year from Joey Wentz was not winning baseball from your bullpen, but maybe he got better. It's the off season. Anything can happen. Maybe he got better. Hopefully he did. Make me eat my words. But the rest of the bullpen, I think it's an improvement for sure. I think there's potential, but the Pistons also have potential, and look at what they're doing. So take that with a grain of salt as well. But I want to get your guys' opinions on the roster this year. Maybe some players that are in AAA. Badu is in AAA. So just your opinions on this roster, how we're looking for this year, and what you're expecting. Because I'm expecting big things.
I'm expecting big things as well. Seeing Andy Ibanez and what he's done in spring training, I love Andy Ibanez. Mm-hmm. He's another player that wants it.
He's a good
he's showing that right now in spring training. He showed that in spring training, rather, now that spring training's done. And I really think Andy Ibanez will be another player to watch out for. Torkelson didn't have the best spring training, but he's heating up in the right moments.
He got hot at the end of spring
and he just
training.
Needs to translate it to the show right now.
Mm-hmm.
Colt Keith is going to be absolutely amazing to watch. I'm really excited to watch Colt Keith. And, all of our eyes are probably going to be on Javi Baez, because the dude in spring training, once again, sucked.
Eddie's Leonard played better than him. and is better than him. I don't understand why. I get it. You paid Javier Baez a lot of money. You got to eat it at this point, man. DFA him. What is it, $15 million you're going to have to eat in cap or whatever? If you
just about, because he's on a 6-year, I think, $140 million.
15 mil. It's a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. But when you're considering the MLB front office and what Javi Baez does to your team right now, yes, he made one good defensive play in spring training. As I just knocked the microphone, I don't know if that I don't know if that made any noise over the air, but still. Javi Baez is not a good baseball player anymore. He's just not. I don't know why we keep the front office keeps trying to make this like false reality of, hey, maybe he's still got some left in him. He doesn't. Look, spring training he wasn't even good. Eric Haas was good in spring training. Javi Baez wasn't. What do you got? 2 hits?
2 hits. His lowest average his lowest average that I remember seeing in spring training, I believe, was 86 cents he was hitting.
I thought I saw 45 cents at one point.
You might be right. I saw something in the 40s as well. But Javi Baez, in my mind, he's only doing it for the money. And if it gets to that point again, Anthony, absolutely DFA him immediately once it gets to that point.
If Javier Baez wasn't Javier Baez and didn't have that price tag on him, Eddie's Leonard would have made this team, and he'd be our starting shortstop. He was phenomenal. Yes, he's not as good as Javier Baez in the field, but sometimes you might have to take the El Mago trick and occasional highlight play where Torkelson has to scoop it up in the dirt, and you have to you have to add on the offense, because having your $20+ million guy bat 8th in the lineup because he can't make contact anymore with the ball. I'm sorry, Javier Baez is just not that good anymore, and the front office keeps trying to think that he is, because he's got that big name from back in 2019 when he was on the Cubs.
Yeah,
like.
I'm just taking a look at the article from the Motor City Bengals, and there may be a new acronym coming up. Everybody knows SOL, same old Lions. That acronym is gone, first of all. I'm not bringing it back.
Let's bring in a new one,
But let's bring in a new one. Fans are starting to use SOB, same old Baez.
That's a double entendre.
It is a double entendre, and
same old Baez.
Just reading it, this stat right below it. This was near the beginning of the spring training. Mm-hmm. His first 11 trips to the plate, he had a 50% strikeout rate. 50%. So obviously, 11 trips to the plate. You divide that by 2, it's 5.5 plate appearances. So you're telling me in at least 5 or 6 plate appearances, he's striking out. That is inexcusable.
We're incorporating math here on Card Guys.
Little early morning math.
We're an educational program now. Sign us up to be on Channel 4 on Saturdays at 10 o'clock.
There you go. Get that contract in.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just becoming more and more frustrated with Javi Baez, and if he can't prove it, especially at the beginning of the season, I don't want to waste any time, as much as the front office probably won't do it and Illich won't do it. DFA Javi Baez, just because I'm starting to get really sick of him.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, you got anything to add?
Javi sucks.
Javi's
sucks.
been
I'm gonna keep
struggling.
my mouth shut. Javi sucks.
All right, well, one last thing before we head out. We're going into Chicago. So with that, the White Sox aren't that good. We'll just be honest. Their roster isn't looking too pretty. I could be proven wrong. Like I said multiple times, I have been wrong many times in my lifetime. But is this a series that you need to sweep or at least win? I think it's a series you need to sweep to start the year off right.
If you can sweep the White Sox, it's a very good start.
Mm-hmm.
At minimum, I would take a series win. But if you're able to sweep the White Sox with how some players have just shown up in spring training, I would expect a sweep.
I think we're riding the momentum. We're riding the momentum into the start of the season. We have a couple. I don't want to say because no series is easy in the MLB, but
Nope.
There are some underwhelming teams on the docket to start off this season, including next week as we go into opening day at Comerica Park, which we'll talk more about that next week. Let's quickly go into our favorite sports card products. As you know, on Card Guys, we're called Card Guys for a reason. We like sports cards. So a little topic of discussion right now. Favorite products in sports cards. Now, Doug, our good friend Doug Mobley, he wanted to get a little special shout out in his favorite products. So his favorite products, as he texted me at 12 o'clock in the morning yesterday, or this morning, I guess, it's technically 12 o'clock is in the morning today. However, Topps Chrome and Topps Stadium Club are his two favorites. Now, Stadium Club's one of the best products you can get off the shelves in blaster form. You get a lot from Stadium Club, so good choices right there. He's more of a baseball guy himself, but he also does have a Scotty Barnes PC as well. So he is a little bit of a basketball collector as well as Grady. I don't know if we're allowed to say his full name, so he is going to go by Grady in the NBA. He had a photo op with Anthony Black. He's Grady. That's all we're going to say. You know who he is. If you don't, look up Grady NBA, and you will get your answer. We're sending you guys on a lot of research chases today, but that's just the type of episode we are on. Ryan, do you have any favorite sports card products?
Allen and Ginter and Optic.
Allen Ginter Optic. Any specific sport?
No.
No? What sports do you collect?
Basketball and baseball.
So basketball, Optic, baseball, Allen and Ginter. Allen and Ginter is a fun one because you don't just got baseball in Allen and Ginter. You've got, Wembanyama. You've got pop stars. You've got cultural icons. You've got Roger Federer has an auto. There's a lot of cool stuff in Allen and Ginter. So it's not just baseball with Allen and Ginter. It's really cool. It's a really cool design. I personally had a Victor Wembanyama rookie card from Allen and Ginter. I don't have it anymore. I did have to make that sale. However, it's a really cool product. My favorite products, I'm gonna have to go with NBA Prism. Oh, I don't like opening it because I never have good luck. But just the numbered parallels and the different stuff you can get out of Prism. It's some cool stuff. And I like Prism. I also, I like National Treasures and Flawless. If we're going premium, Flawless just dropped, and they have this new patch in Flawless, which is the Bill Russell tribute patch. Now, Sadiq Bey has one of these cards, but Cade Cunningham doesn't. Cam Reddish has one of these cards, but Cade Cunningham doesn't. They're one-of-ones. There's only one of them for each player. And you get a card, and I'll put it up on the screen, a picture if I can find one, because it just got released and they're one-of-one, so obviously they're only they're front-off-the-line exclusives too, I'm pretty sure. So you're guaranteed to get one in first off the line, not front off the line, first off the line, FOTL. But you get a card, right? And on the right side of the card is Bill Russell. The left side of the card, it's your player that you got. And it's a game-worn jersey with the Bill Russell 6 patch, the commemorative patch from Bill Russell's passing. They cut up the jerseys and they put that patch that player wore into the card. It is a phenomenal tribute from Panini. Panini actually did something right this time, and they're beautiful cards. Flawless is an amazing product, but if I'm going off the shelf, right, I could go to Target and get a blaster. I got to go Prism, I got to go Select, and Court Kings. I like Court Kings. You've got the I think isn't it Court Kings with the now I'm second guessing myself. Let me make sure. Yes. So Court Kings is a product in which you have like this really cool insert right here. It's an Aurora with the Aurora Borealis in the background of the card. It's really cool.
Nice.
But it's like each card has a canvas type. It's not just a normal cardboard card or prismatic card. It's a canvas, like a art canvas, as the card.
Wow.
Really sweet stuff. And they've got something called a blank slate in there that you could get from the Blasters. Now, Blasters are not, they're international, so they're not here, and they're not cheap. However, the Blasters have blank slates in them, and the blank slates are really cool. There's nothing, they used to be white, now they're black. It's just nothing in the background and then the player. And they're worth a pretty penny. There's this De'Aaron Fox blank slate rookie card on the NBA store for $8.99. Now, I'm not talking $8.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool stuff. So we've got Allen and Ginter and Optic. I've got Prism Select and the Big Daddies of Flawless and National Treasures. Doug has got Stadium Club and it's blanking on me. I have it right here, but I'm not going to pull it up. Now I need to remember.
It was the
Stadium
Topps,
Club,
right?
Chrome. Topps Chrome. Michael, what are yours?
Topps Chrome has been one of mine, and you've really gotten me into NBA Prism, I will say.
NBA
I
Prism's
haven't
cool.
personally collected a lot of those yet, but who knows? I could be starting in my own little collection
Nice.
here. Maybe when the time is right, when we're all not broke college students anymore. But hey,
We got some extra dough in the pocket.
Exactly. But you've gotten me really into NBA Prism. Some
Yeah.
of those designs are sweet.
Now they're expensive cards. Obviously, the
very.
hobby packs are in the air. But like when you're collecting, like I collect third-year Cade, second-year Cade stuff, and the numbered stuff from that, and the different parallels and the different designs on them. Super cool stuff. But sadly, that's all we have for today's show. We had some card talk. We had some good discussion about a lot of different topics. Thanks for tuning in to Card Guys Season 2, Episode 19 on 101.1 The Beat, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in Monday as we recap the Tigers' opening weekend of regular season play. And who knows, maybe the Red Wings or Pistons win a ball game. For my good buddies, Ryan Donnelly and Michael Rosenkranz, I'm Anthony Schulte saying, so long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. I'll see you this weekend.
Love you, Mom and Dad.